Shakedown number 5. Okay guys, we're starting to get a little bit of experience. I got a little cheat sheet here of some of the things we wanted to go over.
Well, wait. What we wanted to share with you guys is we're back up here on the Owyhee River again, because we got the bus pretty much what we felt was done, and so we brought it out for another 14 days, and we're at the end of our 14 days, and so we just wanted to share with you guys what we've observed over the past 14 days with all of the system.
We're just going to start with the solar system and say, of all the days we were up here, we never used more than 17% of our battery bank.
Right.
So let me back up just a minute, because we never really told everybody we have 1,200 watts of solar, and we have 600 amp hours of lithium batteries, and then we have all the Victron, a 3,000 watt Victron inverter, charge controller, and on sunny days we were floating. We were clear back full by lunchtime.
Yeah. The amazing thing is, in the 14 days that we've been up here, we have never once had to plug in our generator. We had a couple of days to, we kind of had to float over because it was a cloudy day and we didn't gain much solar, but we still had enough in reserve, to make it through the next day.
So I think we could basically, from what we've experienced so far, we could probably go 5 cloudy days before we would be getting close to being empty.
Yeah.
The only time we used the generator was when we were making peanut butter in the Vitamix.
Yeah.
And it'll run it at 1,500 watts easily. That's a piece of cake. But when it lugs down and spikes, then the little overload warning was popping up and down, and that made me uncomfortable. So I just went outside and plugged the Vitamix into the generator and solved that problem.
Yeah.
But the microwave,
everything is running beautifully off of it.
Yeah, typically, I mean, we watch TV at night, and up here we use the DVD player and the TV.
Yeah, because there's no internet, no coverage up here. We're feeling very, very confident in our solar system.
Yeah, feeling like we got that.
Yeah.
Then, so the next thing is the generator, and people are all like, so why do you need a generator? Well, if we had 7 days of rain, we can literally start up the generator and plug in the cord into the bus and refill the battery. Now, the generator, 3,500 watt Harbor Freight that our son gifted to us, it's bigger actually than we need.
And the other thing to keep in mind too is we're in a canyon here, so we're not getting full day sun.
Right.
So that's another thing that we've been aware of. Moving on to the diesel heater.
Yeah, the diesel heater. So when we first started using the diesel heater, we didn't think it was big enough to heat the whole bus. But basically, we weren't using it correctly, or we didn't understand how we could use it. The things that have went wrong with the diesel heater is you don't want to point the ducts at your laminate flooring.
Newly laid laminate floor.
Because we used to just have the ducts pointed down at the floor. It softened the final plank flooring and put a little mark in it at one spot.
Yeah.
So we're like, ooh, keep those pointed up. Exhaust on a diesel heater when it's in heat up mode is really pretty hot. Yeah. But the other thing that happens with the diesel heater, and it did it again this trip, is if you put the lid on tight, it pulls a vacuum on the tank and it collapses the fuel tank. I've went in and screwed around with that little silicone thingy, but there's just, for me, there's too many issues with this plastic tank, with this plastic lid. I'm just going to go back down to the shop and replace it.
But the good thing is the diesel heater doesn't take that much diesel to heat up the bus. When we first came up, the first week it was a little bit colder, and we did have one night where it dropped down into the teens, and so she was running pretty continuous all night. But on a worst case scenario, we're burning 1.5 gallons of diesel in a 24-hour period, and most of that is during the nighttime while we're sleeping, because during the daytime we've been blessed with sunshine, so we don't need it. We're turning it off most of the time.
Yeah, so the diesel heater, and for anybody that hasn't looked back in the other videos, this is the 8 kW. It's not the 5 kW. It's the 8 kW diesel heater. It's the bigger one. And once we learned to tip the ducts up so they weren't blowing down on the floor, it also did another thing. It's like we were putting a lot of BTUs and transmitting them through the floor where they weren't doing us much good.
Instead of into the room.
When we tipped them up and into the room, it worked better. And when we learned where we need to leave it set through the night. So the diesel heater.
It's a win-win. We love it.
We love it.
Yeah.
It'll heat the whole bus.
The next thing is we are loving our Dickinson propane fireplace. To heat the bus fully, it probably could do it, but not as easily as the diesel heater does it.
It cannot compete with the diesel heater. It's also, this is the 12,000 BTU Dickinson. They come in 8,000 and 12,000 BTUs, and this is the larger one. It does work awesome. Shelley loves to sit underneath it here when we're watching movies at night or whatever. It's great. You can see it for the ambiance.
Yeah.
And it does not. We have, in the 2 weeks up here, we've only used one 5-gallon, 20-pound propane bottle.
And that's running the range and our hot water heater. So, you know, that's not just the diesel heater. The fireplace. So, So I think the propane system's working perfectly. Yeah, we're feeling really good about that.
We can switch out tanks easily. All the appliances are working well. So on the propane thing, I think we're set to roll.
Yeah. So when we had those, that one night of the 17 or the 19 degrees, we kind of held our breath with the underbay and the water. But we knew we would be okay. But luckily, when we woke up the next morning, we still have our thermopin temperature thing down there. And at 18 degrees outside, 19 degrees, the underbay was at 38 in the morning. So we felt really good about that. We're really confident in our underbay now.
If we're going to go somewhere it got even colder, it wouldn't take much of an auxiliary heater down there to keep us from having a problem. So feeling good about that.
Yeah. The water, we came up with a full 100 gallons this trip. And I just checked, and we still have a quarter of a tank. But we're also enjoying the local hot springs that's really, really close. It's like a 10-minute drive. So every morning we start our day off by going and soaking in the hot springs. So by doing that, that's kind of helped us conserve water a little bit because we're not showering, you know, on a regular basis like we normally do. So I feel like that's...
Is that what smells?
That's kind of helped us save a little bit on water. But we're also both getting wiser on how we use our water. So, I'm feeling really good about our water system and how that's all working.
Yeah, so we have a 100-gallon freshwater tank. We have two 45-gallon gray tanks. So by the time the water tank is empty, the gray tanks are full. It's time to go dump and fill.
Back in. The other thing is the Murphy bed. The Murphy bed works beautiful, and we love the fact that you can hinge the Murphy bed up and open that room up. There's just so much potential back there to be used for that room. I love doing my yoga back there. There's enough space and everything. So, and the art table, it's a great space to do art in and all of that when I'm not outside, when I can't go outside and do it. We are having a little bit of troubles with the mattress sliding forward, and when we put the bed up, the mattress wants to slide down and it gets hung up when we try to drop it.
Yeah, when we drop it back down, because it's not in a cabinet against the wall, there's a little ledge there. So that we're going to address that when we get back down.
Yeah.
We're going to fix that.
So we've learned a couple, 2 or 3 little things that we want to tweak when we get back to the shop. But all in all, it's been, I would say, very successful 14 days, don't you think?
Yes, everything. Yeah. I mean, the Murphy bed's just a little fix.
And these are all things that we're learning by living in it and going out in the wild and being away from the shop, that you can't just, you know, do a quick fix, or you use it on a more regular basis, and then you're like, oh, okay, I see how this is really working. So
we made a run into town and we grabbed a 4-foot table and some folding chairs, and so we can put the Murphy bed up. We get 6 back here.
Well, we want to use that room as an entertainment room and have, you know, friends over for dinner or something some night. And so that's the whole purpose too for the Murphy.
So, but we had that planned all along, that we were going to have an auxiliary table, which also worked up here in this room if we chose to.
Yeah,
So,
up here in the front.
So we are so close to having everything dialed in. We need to address the diesel tank, the Murphy bed.
And then the next big hurdle is towing the pickup.
Yeah, so you guys put out
Randy needs help on that.
put out good vibrations. I've got the clips on the front of the pickup. The tow bar will hook on. The receiver's on the back of the bus. The lights are wired to the back. I just need to get the lights wired for the tow, for the pickup, and get the brake in. Yeah, you guys, you got any?
Send out some love for that.
You got any good connections up there? Then
send them our way.
So another thing that we found out on the way up was, I got the rear view cameras readjusted for where the pickup would be towed and farther behind like they needed to be. But until we got here, the contrast was so out of whack, and we finally figured out the menu, how to get the contrast set. So on the way back, hopefully,
you'll be able to
I'll be able to see the backup camera.
Back But the other thing that has been so amazing on this trip out is, in going to the hot springs every morning, we meet other people there, different people, all different walks of life. And we have been able to share the bus more this trip. People are interested and they want to come and actually see the bus. And it's been very humbling and eye-opening to see their response when they see it for the first time, because they're not even following us on YouTube like you guys are. They've never even heard about us. So it's more curiosity and all of that. And it's really kind of opened our eyes to how far we've really come on this journey and stuff.
Yeah, because the way that I've gotten through this build was to focus my energies on one thing at a time. Okay, how do we get this roof cut into? Okay, how do we get skylights into this? And gee whiz, at the end here now, it's all coming together. Now I can look and go, oh yeah, I remember when we were struggling with that and with that. But there's some other stuff that happened while we were here that was so awesome. One of the things is, we took some friends up on the roof and they were sitting up there meditating, and I was like, oh man, this is so awesome. There was 3 people lined up on the roof deck all meditating. It was so beautiful.
It was a very special time for me, so that was pretty cool.
And yesterday I walked down the river while Shelley was napping looking for the kingfishers. I was looking for the kingfisher. I found a pair of kingfishers calling back and forth to each other, and they slowly came together on the riverbank and finally in the same tree, and then they mated, and then they worked apart and came back. So it was just like, who gets to see kingfishers out in the wild? It was super awesome. It was.
Well, and then even yesterday morning while we were going down to the hot springs, this blew us both away. But we saw a bald eagle sitting in a tree with 2 ravens right side by side, the bald eagle on the same branch. And they were so close to each other that they could reach over and practically touch one another. Yeah. And we're like, how rare is that to see that? Bottom line, you guys, we are really enjoying being out in nature and being out in the wild, and the opportunity that the bus life is bringing into our lives. So that's pretty much what we wanted to share with you guys on this video.
Yeah, the nature's been great, but just meeting interesting, loving people has been really cool too.
And sharing our journey with new people. So, hey, if any of you guys that have come by the bus are watching, thank you so much. Your friendship and your visit with us has meant the world. So, but I think with that, we're going to just go ahead and end this video, and know that these 14 days out here along the Owyhee River have been very meaningful and very successful on this journey. And so anyway, just know, you guys, we love sharing the journey with you, and we will just catch you in the next one. Love to you all. Bye.
And remember, think about what can go right.
Yes, what can go right today. Love you. Bye.